thank you for joining me today. Adrian
Tsosie.
Tsosie.
T is silent.
Okay.
Like the way to say it, Tsosie. So kind of like the Chinese way of so.
Okay.
So just a T and S make a sound, but English way is Tsosie, no T.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me. I think just to start off, we'll have you introduce yourself, your name, what's your business, and then just kind of a little bit about you, like who are you?
Okay, so my name is Adrian Tsosie. I'm Dene Zia Hemes Pecos Hopi and Comanche. I was born in Fort Defiance, Arizona. I grew up in Flagstaff. Went to junior high and high school in Gallup and graduated from Gallup High in 2001. Like the day after I graduated, I came to Albuquerque in 2001. So I've been here since 2001. So I'm not really from any place, but I'm from all places around here, I guess you would say. I own and run Code of Colors, which is a media firm where we do graphic design, screen printing, web design, embroidery, and vinyl lettering. And I say we, it's just me, but hopefully that we will change here in the next month or two. Just trying to grab the reins and control this business to be able to be scalable, to have coworkers and not have them running around like chickens with their head cut off. And I see that happening a lot in small business. So I'm trying not to bite more than I can chew.
So tell me more about your business, because you have a really good story. How did it get started? Like what brought you to what you're doing today?
So graphic design is where I started, like I'd say 13, 14 years ago. It's kind of a wash, but I just look back at the time and I just got into it because my buddy wanted to learn how to DJ. I've been a DJ since what, 99? So when I got with this crew here in Albuquerque in around 2003, 2004, the owner wanted to learn how to DJ and I wanted to learn how to graphic design. And that night we just switched roles. He told me how to run the tools and use Photoshop. And I told him how to play, cue, and use headphones and turntables. And after that, it's just one of those things for me is like, as an artist, you never know you're an artist until you start doing art. And what I like to say is like, you can teach somebody how to use tools, but you can't teach anybody how to be an artist. And graphic design stuck to me like nothing else has stuck to me. Like there's stuff in my life that I've done forever and got rid of. Like the only two things in my life I'm good at are mixing two tracks together and designing something great. I've been doing this slowly for years and years and years. Was freelancing in and out since I learned small flyer jobs here and there. Then once I got like a good 5 to 6 years of experience and a good portfolio under my belt, I decided to try working as a graphic designer. And I did get some entry-level positions as graphic designers for t-shirt shops. I was working at a sign shop for about close to 2 years. So working at that sign shop, I learned a lot of basics about commercial designing, signage, vehicle wraps, scaling, just a lot of the jargon associated with the field I learned. Then once I started working more with different graphic design companies after that for like their screen printing departments, I fit right in because I knew what I was talking about and how I was doing. So I was never from the traditional aspect of learning how to do this. I just learned. I'm lucky, I'm gifted. I mean, I guess it's a native thing they say. Native Americans are great artists. They can do a lot with their art. That's one thing I'm trying to push is using what talents God gave me and running with them and using them in a way to help prosper, not just myself, but anybody I can possibly help. So my business actually came to be after I went to Deep Dive. I actually went through the Deep Dive program in 2019, completed it. When I was done, literally the day I was getting my certificate of completion, I started getting calls left and right for more design work, brochures, flyers, all kinds of different stuff. Then at the time, Dan Huron was working in the Deep Dive program. Then he brought me on to the Activate New Mexico team. which is a small incubator program for small businesses and startups here in Albuquerque or in New Mexico, to where like if you wanted to start a business, they help you with all the baby steps. Then after that, you get into their incubator programs. So what I was doing was I was sitting in with the classes, which was awesome. Like whether Dan knew it or not, I was sitting through all these classes with all these other small businesses and startup owners, learning all this stuff, sponging off of everything they got on. So I got this great knowledge that was presented by West and Activate New Mexico at the time. They were collaborating. I learned a lot of stuff, and it all soaked in. And that was the business side. And then like building my business side, and then the design side, I was helping all these startups in return to build and grow and like design their identity, from branding and logo design and just little things like that, marketing stuff, flyers, business cards. And about, I'd say 2 months into the program, I was asked by Dan and TJ which TJ is like the program leader. I don't know if he still is now, but I was able to design the branding and the logo design for Activate New Mexico, which was for me, that was a big client thing. And it just so happened I was in the right place at the right time.
Isn't that what kind of pushed you to get your LLC?
Yeah. So in order to work with Activate New Mexico, I had to be an LLC, a registered LLC, and a registered vendor with CNM in order to get paid. So I was like forced to do it because it was a great position. It was a good thing. It was something nice to have on my resume. So in 2019 is when I created Coda Colors, not necessarily out of the fact that I'm going to be a businessman and I'm going to grow. No, it was because I had to do it in order to pull CNM as a client. Well, after working with them for about almost a year and a half doing stuff for them, I decided, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. And with the support of my wife and my family, I bit the bullet and never got a job, and went from working out of a room in my house in my shed to getting a brick and mortar. And I've been there going on 2.5 years, and business is just growing and growing and growing. And for me, I feel like it's only growing because I'm not like, everybody wants profit, but at the end of the day, I'm here and geared to help anybody who needs the help. So I'm using my talents to help somebody else gain and grow in their own aspects with something that fits them. So branding and logo design is like what I love to do, because it gives me the chance to channel in whatever my clients are asking for into something that represents them on any platform, whether it's digital, print, handheld, whatever it is, social media. Like, most people don't realize just because you have a logo doesn't mean you have a brand. Mm-hmm. And most people get that messed up, because yeah, you can have a black and white logo, but what does that say about your brand? So that's when someone like me comes in, and I'm a good people reader. I mean, I guess that's part of being the Native American side of me. I'm really good at understanding people with the few words they give me. And I like to turn that into who they are, not from just the assets inside the logo, but the colors, the actual font type used, and building a branding package and just setting them up for success. And I'd say about 95 to 98% of my clients, which might be over exaggerating, don't ever have to come back to me to get anything fixed. What's nice is they come back to me to get a lot more. So that's where the screen printing and web design and embroidery stuff comes into play. I didn't want to be, but I am like a one-stop shop, because most people, if they can trust what you're doing at the beginning, they can fully trust that you'll take everything you're doing and run with it in a positive direction. And I'm truly grateful and blessed for that. I mean, I haven't had to do any marketing campaigns since I moved into my building. So word of mouth is a good thing to have. I mean, if you're starting a business, treat everybody the way you treat your mom. If your mom came in and she wanted to do a little startup sewing business, treat them the same way, because at the end of the day, they'll treat you exactly the same way.
Yeah. So you mentioned like kind of starting your business, and entrepreneurship was never something that you intended to do. It just kind of happened. And you also mentioned some resources and people that were able to help you along that journey. I'm wondering if you can kind of highlight those people who helped you, some of the programs, that other people who maybe are looking to start a business might be able to look into to help them as well.
So I'm going to backpedal just a little bit before I got into the business things. I think one thing people need to look at is workforce development, because they gave me the scholarship to go to Deep Dive for free.
Oh, nice.
So if it wasn't for them giving me that scholarship, I couldn't have afforded the price just to go to Deep Dive out of pocket, no job. Because like with Deep Dive, you literally have to quit your job and be full in.
And that's with CNM.
With CNM,
correct?
yeah. It's just like a couple streets over.
Mm-hmm.
And resources like that are huge. I mean, I'm going to be going back to them. I got to email them before the end of the week, but they're going to help pay for 2 paid interns for my business to help me grow. And that's a huge resource. I mean, that's awesome that they helped me work in the beginning to get to school and to learn what I did, which Deep Dive helps so much for. I mean, that's another resource too. Deep Dive taught me how to be more specific on how I research, how I communicate, in the order I do things to make sure that I'm not wasting time. Because with Deep Dive, you go in there in the morning, you have breakfast, and you're learning something new. That's an up-to-date trend in web development. After lunch, you're implementing yourselves with other students. And I feel that's a huge thing for somebody like me, because I couldn't sit through 4 years of college and wait the last year to actually get into the nitty-gritty and the fun stuff. I mean, it's not for everybody. I mean, some people are 4-year college students. Some people are like, let's get up and get this done now. And what's interesting is the way the development side on hiring goes is they're liking the Deep Dive students because they're getting hands-on knowledge of what's going on now in the new languages. So that's a huge resource. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not a full stack developer, and I was honestly going to be a full stack developer that was categorized as a unicorn because I knew how to design and I knew the language, but that's not what my cards had for me. But the resource helped me to grow into taking on more work. So the next huge company that helped me is AIBE out of New Mexico State, because as a business owner, there's a lot of stuff I needed to navigate that I didn't know. Like, it's like when you first get in LLC, logo, website, there's so much more to it to be successful, and make sure your taxes are right, make sure you're paying right, make sure you're doing everything in a way to where you don't get nipped in the butt by the state or the government because you're not running your business right. AIBE was a huge help with that because I took a bunch of their courses just to learn how to run a business. And that Native American program is so helpful. I mean, the average Joe can get a lot of help, but us Native Americans, it's hard to find that kind of help. In the recent developments over the past 4 to 6 years, there's so many resources out there. And AIB was one. Then after I went through AIBE was teaming up with New Mexico Community Capital out of Albuquerque. And they reached out to me from them asking, no, wait a minute, take it back. I took more classes with New Mexico Community Capital on like marketing, business basics and stuff like that. Then I got to tell them my whole spiel on my business, where I was at, who I want to help, how I want to grow, where I want to be. So that past, present, and future, they seen that there was a lot in there. So they pulled me on to start helping with design work. Just much like I was doing for Activate New Mexico, I was doing design work for starting businesses, young Native American or older Native American entrepreneurs starting to get in the game, helping with their logos, their marketing. And at this time, I was doing actual custom websites through Wix. And I chose Wix because I could design a full custom page and they can go edit it themselves, just click and change anything like that. And I've been doing that for the past 2 years now. And I went NMCC has been a huge help and partner. Shout out NMCC, I love you guys. Henry, Hillary, you guys changed me and helped me so much. I went through their Near 90 program, got a one-on-one coach, and she literally broke down everything that I told her on how I want my business to go, where I want it to be, how I want to grow as an individual, as a business, in a entrepreneur. Like, those are resources you just can't go to downtown and be like, hey, you got business help? It took me a minute to go through the weeds and find out which ones helped. And the big ones that got me to where I'm at are AIBE and NMCC, like hands down. Like, even if I say I have a slow month and I tell them, I'm having a slow month, I need help, NMCC will go and order 50 tote bags so I can have screen printing, so I can pay a bill or something like that. Mm-hmm. That's something that's super genuine and awesome. Like, I did go to, what is it, small business one here in town. I forgot what they're
Small
SBDC
Business Development Center.
Yeah, and I had a great lady. That was another one. So before I went to AIB, let me backtrack. I forgot all about SBDC, but COVID stopped our communication. Like, I couldn't go to see her anymore, and it's been like 4 years since I talked to her. I want to go talk to her again. Be like, hey, guess what? I'm a business and thriving. Because when I was talking to her back then, I said I dreamed of the brick and mortar. I wanted to be a business.
And there you have it now.
And what's crazy, so like, I look back on that paperwork because she gave me a paper to fill out of where I wanted to go, where I wanted to be, and I did all my goals.
So that would be a good place probably for people to start.
Oh yeah.
And then they can tap into all these other resources.
Yeah, like SBDC will definitely help you with just the basics of figuring out how to get your LLC and how to register with the state of New Mexico, how to register with Bernalillo County. So you need your permits. I mean, you can't make $20,000, $30,000 a year and expect to get away with it.
Yeah.
I mean, drug dealers can't even get away with it. State wants their money. But yeah, don't forget that one. SBDC, I think that's a good start for anybody, not just Native Americans. Just they literally gave me a packet showing where I should go, who I should talk to, if I want to hire. Like, it's great resources. Even New Mexico Tax and Revenue have classes once in a while to show you how to do your books.
That's important.
That was a good one too. And these were two I was just looking up online, what I should do for my small business. Google can be your friend. I mean, you don't have to worry about ads popping up or whatever, but the one thing that I learned from Deep Dive was ask Google the right question. I mean, take a minute and figure out what you're trying to ask for. If you ask the right question, you'll get the right answer. That's the one thing I carry with me no matter where I go. Not even just for Google. If you have a problem in life, figure out how to ask for help and put a good question together on that exact problem. And more often than not, someone's going to have an answer for you.
Yeah. And there are people out there, especially for small businesses and Native entrepreneurs wanting to help. And it's at no cost to you. You just have to put in the sweat equity. So you have to put in the work.
Sweat equity.
Yeah.
Because of sweat equity, I have not gained weight in 2 years. I swear. And another resource that I don't personally get to use that I want to talk about is Native Women Lead for Native American entrepreneurs. They're a huge help. They'll literally hold your hand through starting a whole business. And they're one of my clients. I get to do a lot of their screen printing, and I got really close to a lot of people, a lot of the women over there. So that's another great resource too that I haven't got to use because I'm fortunately not a woman. I'm a man, but in this day and age, there's so much resources out there for women that want to get into something as far as being an entrepreneur, whether you want to get into sewing, baking, or real estate. There's people out there to help you. Like I was saying, just figure out what questions to ask, then ask away. Like they say, the only dumb question is not asking a question.
Yeah. And I think I'm gonna try to get all the resources that you mentioned. I'm gonna try to get them on the podcast as well.
Oh, they would love
so that they can share about their organizations and their specific programs that they have. Because we have some programming here at UNM Rainforest Innovations through our university center, but it really, what we have is some for community members, some for students, but it's kind of the basics. And then the other programs are kind of what people can go to after they get that small foundation from what we have. We like to refer people to the SBDC after they've worked with us, and then they can go from there. So yeah, a lot of great resources out there. And you've obviously benefited. I'm wondering if you can talk about some of your goals for your business. Now that you've started, you said you had a goal to have a brick and mortar, you have that now. What are some things you're looking forward to in the future?
So 3-month goal right now is to hire somebody, a paid intern. And this intern, I'm hoping to be somebody just straight out of high school that doesn't know what to do, is great with art and doesn't know what to do with it. I want to teach them everything that I know. The 6-month goal is to hopefully hire my wife on to do admin, so I don't have to be on the computer anymore. And what 1-year goal would be to move into a building twice as big as what I have. 1.5 years, probably going to be an automatic screen press. It's like $70,000, but it'll make a lot, because within that 1.5 years, another goal is to be 8A certified, so I can start reaching for these government contracts, and I'll get first dibs on all of them.
Oh, that would be a big deal.
Huge deal. So that 8A certification is what I'm going to use to carry on my future goals. So like where I want to be in 3 years is to have another business started, another coat of colors that's 3 times bigger than where I'm at. But this one is going to be like the test run of a technical school. So I'll be starting a nonprofit hopefully in 3 years, where I'm taking what I'm teaching my mentee here in the next month, but adapting that to more children. So hopefully it just catches on to where I'd like to be in 5 years as an established technical school for troubled Native youth or underprivileged Native youth, to teach them everything that I do, graphic design, web design, screen printing, embroidery, all that stuff. But I would love to hire on teachers to do actual web coding and do all the nitty gritty stuff, and actually do like a fully immersive school to where we have something for children to work for from our tribes, because a lot of children are underprivileged when it comes to living on the reservation. So the 10-year goal would be to be on 10 different reservations with the same school and platform and be a free resource. So hopefully if the government, U.S. government, the state, and the tribes see this benefiting youth, which I know it will, I would like for this to be eventually free education, technical school where kids get a free toolkit. So graphic designers will get a laptop and things to do graphic design work. Screen printers will get a at-home screen print kit so they can continue to study. I mean, certain things for what your goals are, so you can hit the workforce ready to work. I mean, I'm sick of natives getting bottom dollar for what they're worth. If I could help them get top dollar, get the first hire, or start their own business, I'm all for helping my people. And what's funny, when I say my people, I'm the Nez, Zia, Hennes, Pico, Hopi, and Comanche. So there's a lot I can help with and push on, and sky's the limit as far as just where I want to go. But where I want to go always starts with where I'm at. That's a big thing. I'll tell all you guys, where you're at, don't be stressed where you're at, because all diamonds are made by pressure. I mean, I'm going to be a diamond one day.
You already are.
Not the diamond I want. I might be a diamond for a ring, but I want to be a 10 carat. And that's not trying to brag. It's just,
no, it's good.
It's what I want to put
Yeah.
Because what I put in and the pressure I make of myself, I could do and change and turn into somebody else. And it would be a great testimony for any child who was like me, struggling. I mean, I went to ITT Tech and dropped out. I went to SIPI twice and checked SIPI twice and I partied out. So I know what it's like. I mean, I've been the troubled youth. I was all about smoking weed and graffiti and hip hop culture in high school and out of high school. I mean, I've been shot, I've been stabbed. Then I found a girl who changed my life, gave me children, got married, and I don't do none of that anymore. The pressure of life has made me a good father, a growing husband, and people call me a successful business owner, but since I have such a huge goal, I don't see it as a success until I get to those goals, obtaining these bigger goals, these bigger check marks on the billboard of my life. I mean, we all got to have them someday. I mean, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you got to have some check marks and goals nobody knows about. If nobody knows about your goals, who can stop you from your goals?
Yeah.
If you tell the whole world, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, guess what? There's going to be roadblocks that you don't even need. And roadblocks can be simply from not obtaining your business license in a timely manner to, oh, I forgot to pay my bill for the electricity and you got to work from home. I mean, so many roadblocks, but there's a lot of things that you keep to yourself. I had one of my older friends tell me, Swifty, you're always talking about what you want to do, what you're going to do. And he's like, a ninja moves in silence. And I'm like, that's so true. And I've literally kept that to heart. Like some of my big goals, I'll talk about because I want people to see the vision. But the goals that I'm going to take to get there, I'm going to keep a secret because that's my successful strategy plan. I don't need anybody to try to interfere.
So you're busy doing the work. You're not talking about it. You're actually doing it, you know. One thing that you mentioned that a lot of Indigenous entrepreneurs that I've spoken to always mention is, okay, I have this business and this is what I'm doing now, but I want to take it back home to my community. I want to use what I've built and my success to now feed into my community and help my community. And you've already talked about it, but how has entrepreneurship helped you? And then how do you see like entrepreneurship in general, but then also your business venture helping back home? You've already mentioned it a little bit, but I just want to touch on that.
So the thing is, like, when you get off the reservation, we learn a lot out here, and there's a lot we can do with it. It's just that hard step is going back home and implementing it, because you got to go through all the hoops to be able to be established on the reservation. Like the hoop I have to get through is finding a sponsor, I think it's called. I got to find somebody who has an address on the Navajo res that I can use that'll be my business partner on paper. It's hard for somebody like me just to go and pop up a business on the Navajo res or on any reservation, because you have to have an established address. So it's like I'd have to ask one of my aunts or my grandmas or somebody, and I know they would, but that's just a hurdle that you have to face, and it's worth it. I mean, a lot of stuff needs to stay on the reservation. Like there's so many people taking their money off the reservation, including the governments themselves. Navajo Nation resources a lot of stuff off the reservation, all the Pueblos resource off the reservation. That's why I wanted to implement my business on a reservation, so the business would stay on the reservation. Native money would stay in Native hands, and in turn help their community. I mean, that's all we can do. I mean, being seventh generation Natives, we need to help our own people, whether we're on or off the reservation. That's what we're built for. We're community. So that's why my end goal with this is to be back on the reservations. I have a business off the reservation, but taking the time to help your own people is something we're entitled to do, in a sense. It's nothing we have to do. It's something we should be doing. We can't be all millionaires by ourselves and forget where we came from. I mean, what's sad is I don't look at the profit margins where I'm going to be in 10 years, because that's not what it's about. It's about if I can change 20 to 30 kids every semester, that's what it's about.
The impact.
The impact, the social impact. Because we always worry about social impact now with Instagram, TikTok. Like that social impact is your likes. I mean, who cares? You pass away and you can't take your likes and followers to heaven, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the stories and the people you save are another thing. And that's something we all should look at, whether you are a believer or a non-believer. Helping people is what we're meant to do. In the society nowadays, we're all entitled to our own selves, and we all run around thinking we have our own little kingdoms. We forget about each other.
Yeah.
And then our Native American community was always about helping each other. I mean, the whole story about it takes a village to raise a child came from a lot of those stories and a lot of that upbringing and culture.
Mhm.
Just because we modernize doesn't mean we got to forget where we came from and where we're going to go.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Mhm.
I don't know if you have any last words that you want to end with. Definitely, if the followers and the people watching,
Mhm.
where can they find you? Instagram, website?
Yeah, so don't ever let somebody stop what your dreams are or what you're dreaming, because that's your dream. Something in the back of your subconscious told you and guided you into something that you need to be into. You might not be there now or ready for it now to jump into it, but it's there for a reason. If you wake up feeling your A, B, C, and D every single day, then guess what? You're A, B, C, D every day. We're not all going to flip burgers. We're not all going to be CEOs of banks. We're not going to be the most selling real estate company in the world, but we all have our place. Don't ever let anybody shy you away from that, because if I let people tell me who I was and what I was doing, I'd probably be homeless, addicted to alcohol and drugs on the streets, because that's all people thought I was worth. And that's far from the truth. Push, don't ever give up, believe in yourself. Sweat equity is a real equity. And the only person that can ever give you that equity is yourself. So push. That's all I can say is push. Like the old song goes, "Go my son, go and earn your feather." It's a real thing nowadays. Like, we gotta earn it. I don't care what situation you're in. I mean, I came from a single mother. I didn't know my father. I'm still doing what I need to do. Father to my kids, a husband that I can try to be best at. So never give up on your intuition. Entrepreneurship is a rocky road. It's hard, but I think all that hardship is worth it, knowing that I did it. I'm doing it. I'm in charge of it, and I'm building my destiny. So if you want to reach for me, I'm on Facebook and Instagram as Code of Colors ABQ. You can find me on the web at codeofcolorsabq.com. Please don't call because I don't answer. You can email me with any questions you have. I mean, I'm here for anybody's help, and that's codeofcolorsabq@gmail.com. I mean, this was a short and sweet one. There's so much more I can say, but
We can have you back again.
okay. But yeah, we got through the meat and potatoes of what Code of Colors is now, where it came from, and where it's going to go. I just don't want to have a business that's stagnant and stays a small business, mom and pop, for 30 years, because all I'm doing is just trying to pay the bills. Paying the bills is one thing, but like I've saying, growing and building and developing the future and of my people and youngsters, that's where I'm going to be.
Awesome. Well, thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.